you details of the strikes by America and the number of bombs that were used. Essentially, you had 6 bombers, B-2 bombers, going into Iranian airspace, dropping 12 bunker buster bombs. These bunker busters is essentially a GBU-57. Here's how it works. So we've used AI to kind of reimagine how exactly this strike took place. The B-2 bombers that I was referring to, it almost looks like a UFO when you look at it. It went right into Iranian airspace in the dead of night, completely stealth, which is why there was no detection whatsoever when this entered into Iranian airspace. It's the only aircraft that's actually capable of carrying these bunker buster bombs, which is why it was used. So each of these carried 2 bunker buster bombs, which is the GBU-57, and then went into Iranian airspace. The total weight is 13,600 kilos. Warhead that we're talking about is 2,700 kg. So this particular B-2 bomber went into Iranian airspace carrying this massive bomb, essentially. How does it work? Well, it's very interesting to see. It doesn't just touch the ground and then blast off. Once, in fact, the B-2 bomber drops these bunker buster bombs, it's got its name for this very reason. It burrows right in, goes right through all the dense rock underneath which this particular facility is in Fordo. So it goes below about 40 meters of dense rock, reaches that fortified underground bunker, and then boom, explodes. So whatever is placed underground, all of that completely destroyed in a matter of seconds. So it can penetrate up to 200 feet. And that's how it manages to get right down there. For good measure, America, mind you, didn't just use one GBU-57. They used a dozen of those to ensure that it can destroy all of the setup in this entire location as well. So this entire setup facility destroyed. The question, of course, of damage is something we'll have to wait and watch for a proper objective assessment as well, because there are claims and counterclaims being made. But this is why this bomb essentially has been a game changer in the conflict. Israel has been counting on America stepping in to target the Fordo base. Let me bring in on this broadcast Dan Pfefferman, National Security Analyst and Intelligence Officer specializing in Middle East affairs. He's joining us from Tel Aviv. Mr. Pfefferman, thank you very much for your time. For Israel, of course, with America entering this conflict, they've been counting on it. Mr. Netanyahu has hailed this particular moment. But how do you and your expertise actually see this now moving forward? Do you see this now escalating further?
Hi, thanks for having me on. There's essentially 2 paths that this can go forward right now. And I'm not sure which one Iran will take yet. We're waiting now to see how it digests what happened, and then how it will respond. One path is that Iran can accept America's statement, President Trump's statement in the press conference, whereby this is an attack specifically and directly on Iran's nuclear program. And Iran has the chance to end this right now. It can choose the path of at least temporary de-escalation. Of course, the Iranian leaders are going to be obviously offended and hurt by this strike. It's a huge hit on national pride. Iran has pumped over $1 trillion over the last 30 years into this nuclear program. But they can choose America's offer to end this here and now and leave it limited to the nuclear program. Or what I think will be maybe a more realistic course of action is that Iran will take a more disastrous and self-destructive route. It will choose to go after now not just Israeli assets or go after Israel itself, but it'll choose now to go after American bases, American embassies, American interests, and possibly close the Straits of Hormuz to the flow of international oil and goods. It'll activate as many of its proxies as it could, especially the Houthis, who already announced that they will be rejoining the fight against America, and they will try desperately and I have to say disastrously for them to try to escalate against the most powerful military in the world.
If you see a retaliation from Iran, which could be in the form of US bases in the Middle East being targeted, how do you really see, Mr. Pfefferman, Israel's role really evolving in such a conflict where it's essentially US versus Iran as well?
Well, Israel has a very clear goal and has been conducting a very precise rollout of targets since the beginning of this round of hostilities just over a week ago. And that is a coordinated and very well planned out campaign to first take out Iran's air defense capabilities, then go after the missile and nuclear sites, go after key installations around communications and intelligence. And now Israel seems to be doing all it can to take out the ballistic missile capacity that Iran has, which it has been firing. It just fired 27 missiles on Israel this morning as I rushed down to the bomb shelter once again with my family. So Israel's role is going to be continuing to take out this ballistic missile capacity after it did significant damage to the nuclear program, after it already completely neutralized Iran's air defense capabilities. Any further escalation will have to be, of course, coordinated with the United States, and we could be looking at a significant escalation on Iran's power grid, Iran's civilian or transport infrastructure, if we're talking about airports, seaports, etc., which would make it very difficult for Iran to continue functioning as a country. Of course, Iran is a very large country, and so this is a complex operation that could take time. And I only hope that Iran takes the hint, which is really more than a hint here, and backs down, at least for the time being.
I'm sure you agree with me that that seems unlikely because, for Khamenei, it will essentially be sending across a message of weak leadership if he chooses to stand down at this particular point, especially at a time when Israel, America has been also dropping all of these hints of a regime change.
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to hear you if it's I'm not hearing the question very well.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Not well.
Okay, I'll just fix that. Give me a moment. I'll just fix that with you, Mr. Pfefferman. Let me also bring in right now Shivani Sharma. She's joining us live from Tel Aviv. Okay, we'll go to her in just a bit, but I'll get back to Mr. Pfefferman with more questions on really what this means for Israel. The other concern here is also going to be, Mr. Muni, about, some sort of an alliance coming together, a bloc perhaps being formed regionally against Israel. Iran is already calling upon other countries to condemn what US has done, to condemn the steps taken by Israel. Do you see that happening with America stepping in?
Well, that kind of an alliance is being worked out, but I think this would be more rhetorical, more diplomatic. It cannot really help Iran militarily because none of the West Asian countries are in a position or of the mind really to put them up against either Israel or the US. Therefore, any such association or alliance which one might think will give a moral support to Iran and nothing more. That's how I understand it.